Okay, while we have the wheel off and while we have the fender off, I'd like to show you the front suspension on this car. Okay. As you can see, it's got tubular upper and lower control arms. They're Global West products, pretty nice pieces. The front sway bar that you see is an older bar. It's made by a company called Rancho. I'm not sure if they're still in business, but they did a lot of muscle car sway bar suspension kits in the late 70s, early 80s, probably more towards the 80s than the 70s. I sourced that sway bar. I had that as a new old stock piece. I bought it probably 15 years ago. It's got a 6-piston Wilwood front caliper. The front caliper is an aluminum caliper, and it's quite an upgrade from the cast iron piece that would have been on the car. This particular car, not from the factory, but as it was being raced, had a J56 caliper, which is a dual pin caliper with insulators. It's 4-piston, and it has an L-shaped pad, so it takes a different style pad. As you can see, it's got long studs. When the Wilwood calipers were bought, they came with this performance brake line. All this stuff's been on this car for about 5 years, so it's not at all fresh looking, but it has not been used. There's a Bilstein shock back there. There's also a Vette brakes 550-pound spring. The bump steer kit, there's a piece of it right there. Manual steering car. And I want to show you this bracket. It's a forged steel bracket, and this would have come with the J56 option. And what this bracket does is it supports, instead of that stamped steel bracket that holds the caliper holding all the pressure, it mounts here, and then it follows all the way back to the 2 spindle locations. And once again, that's a forged steel bracket, and all GM performance brake cars, which would have been the J50, J56 option, would have that as a disc brake car. The Global West control arms, like I said, very heavy duty, upper and lower. And what's nice about this sway bar is it is adjustable, so you can preload it. It really doesn't have a lot of suspension tricks. There's a heavy-duty tie rod there, tie rod sleeve rather, and you can tell by the way the Global West stuff mounts, you know, a lot beefier than the original pieces that would have been on the car. I think it's quite a performance upgrade. I'm looking forward to driving it. I know the diameter of the brakes. Some people would want to put a big diameter rotor, and then, you know, maybe a larger 6-piston caliper. But to be honest with you, the size of the tire that I'm going to be running is going to dictate how much brake that this thing is going to be able to deal with. And I need to run a 15-inch wheel because I want to keep the mini lights. That vintage wheel is very important to the authenticity of this car. So that is going to eliminate a lot of the bigger style, you know, bigger rotor and caliper combinations. But you know, if you're going around a road course, not that I'm going to be doing that, maybe I'll be on the gas instead of on the brakes, or whoever drives this car will be not worried about stopping. They're going to be worried more about going. Just wanted to give you a look at it since we had the opportunity of having the fender off. I'm getting ready to glue that shortly. And at some point, we'll move to the back, and I'll show you what rear suspension has been done to the car. It's similar to the stock suspension, but it does have a dual mount spring that's composite, and it's got an offset trailing arm and some other tricks. But just wanted to give you an idea what we're working with. All right.